everyone! Welcome to Ateng Curdaps and Family's channel. So meron kami dito mga storybook. Dahil tapos na si Bunso sa kanyang modules. So ito na yung gagawin naman namin. Kahapon nagbasa siya ng mga Bibles, tapos ngayon ito naman daw gagawin namin. Dali, anong babasahin mo dyan? Ito naman daw babasahin niya kasi namimiss na daw niyang magbasa ng ganito. Ano? Okay.
The ugly duckling.
The ugly duckling.
There once was an ugly duckling. He was lonely because everyone hissed at him and said, "Oh, what a big, ugly duckling you are." Even his brothers and sisters did not play with him. So he always swam alone in the pond. One day the ugly duckling was pecked by his brothers and sisters until he was sore all over. He was so miserable that he dashed through the fence and ran away.
Miserable.
Miserable. The ugly duckling wandered about for a long time. In the evening, he came to a little cottage, and an old woman lived there with a cat and a hen. When they saw the duckling, they said, "Oh, how ugly you are!" The duckling was so unhappy that he left the cottage in the morning. Winter came and the duckling was very tired. While he was sleeping, a farmer picked him up and took him home. But the duckling was so frightened that he jumped up on the table and knocked over the milk jug and the sugar pot. He then jumped into the floor bin and made a big mess. Then he rushed out into the snail. Wow, this is him or her now. Spring came and the ugly duckling had grown stronger. Lalaki. He flew to a garden and saw beautiful swans swimming in a pond. He flew down to the pond, and when he bowed his head, he saw himself in the water. And look, he was no longer an ugly duckling. He was a swan himself. The other swans welcomed him, and they all floated gracefully and happily over the water. Okay, that's all.
Iba naman.
This one. Sleeping Beauty. Wait, let me Long ago there lived a king and queen who wished to have a child. At last the queen gave birth to a little girl. The king prepared a great feast and he invited all his friends and the fairy godmothers of the kingdom. At the end of the feast, the fairies gave the princess their magic gifts. One gave her beauty, another virtue, the third riches. Altogether, they gave her everything that will make her a wonderful girl. Just then, an old wicked fairy appeared and she cried, "Spitefully!" When the princess reaches the age of 15, she shall prick her finger on a spindle and fall down dead. At that moment, one of the fairy godmothers who had not yet given her wish stepped forward and said, "The princess shall not die, but she shall fall into a deep sleep for 100 years." Okay, here. Let's see. My hands. The king gave the order that every spindle in the kingdom should be burned to avoid the misfortune foretold by the old fairy. One day, soon after she was 15, the young princess wandered in the palace when the king and queen were away from home. The princess came to an old tower. The princess climbed the winding stairs and found a small door at the top of the tower. She opened the door and there in a little room was an old woman busily spinning with a spindle. Let me try. With that, she took the spindle on her hand to see try it. But as soon as had she touched the spindle, the curse started working and she pricked her finger. The moment she pricked herself, she fell down in a deep sleep. Oh, I can't see the other one. Strangely enough, the sleep spread over the whole palace. The cook, who was about to hit the kitchen boy because he had forgotten something, went to sleep. The maid, who was about to cook a chicken, fell asleep. Yes, fell asleep. All the people and the animals throughout the palace, even the fire flickering on the hearth and the wind blowing over, went to sleep. When all were asleep, a thick wood of prickly bushes began to grow around the palace, and it went on growing until it covered the whole palace. Many long years passed. One day a prince came to the land and heard the story of the wondrous palace. An old man said to the prince that a beautiful princess had been sleeping and waiting to be awakened by a gorgeous prince. Okay, that's all. beautiful princess was sleeping. So beautiful was she that the prince fell in love with her and kissed her. The moment he touched her lips, the 100 years has passed, and the princess opened her eyes, looking at the prince proudly. Okay, I cannot read this now. Another story. Thumbelina. Wait, let me just check. Thumbelina was a little girl who was born in a tulip flower. She was so tiny that she stepped in a walnut shell for a cradle on a quilt of violet petals. Late one night, an old toad found her. What a pretty little girl she is, the toad croaked. And wouldn't she make the sweetest little wife for my son, though? The toad picked up the cradle, Thumbelina and all, and went waddling off to her hole. For safekeeping, she put little Thumbelina on a lily pad in the pond. One day, a white butterfly came to Thumbelina and said, "You are much too pretty to marry an ugly frog. Let me hold your ribbon and I will tow you away from here." The fishes in the pond nibbled through the stalk of the lily pad, and Thumbelina went sailing off. Thumbelina, 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 Thumbelina. Okay. All summer long, Thumbelina lived happily in the forest. She was not lonely for the flowers kept her company. She made herself a little hammock where she would sit and listen to the birds sing. Best of all, she loved to watch the swallows as they soared and swooped, twittering merrily all the while. But one day, the swallows